All right, we are live. I'm going to bring out this gentleman here in a second, a client that we are going to interview today. So if you are brand new to the Facebook group, as people start coming on here, every Wednesday, we interview a client from a completely different industry. Okay, so every year we've been doing this for, 2.5 years or so, 3 years, something like that. And we started a little bit before that. And we show you what is possible for you in your industry. Okay, I'm assuming we've interviewed at least one person from your industry by now at this point. All right. So today we're going to bring out a gentleman that started here in the training, and we'll get the exact details from him, that started in the training, I want to say a little bit over a year ago. I could be wrong, could be off by a month or two, so we'll talk about it. And he was already doing well. Okay, he was already making, like, you're talking 20, 25,000 a month. Now, a lot of you be like, man, 20 to 25 grand a month, like, I'm done. I don't need to learn anything else. I'm making so much money. Like, I can do anything I want in my life. Life is good. I don't need to acquire more advanced skills. But something inside of him said, you know what? There's a lot of sales that are slipping through the cracks. There's a lot of sales I feel like I should be making. And he got into our advanced NEPQ 3.0 training. Then a few months later, got into our advanced inner circle, where they're basically trained by me in small groups, plus all of our virtual platform, all the training in there. And I'll let him tell you, within 3 months, got up to almost 100,000 a month, and now makes far more than that. In an industry, and we'll let him tell the stats, in an industry where the average salesperson is barely getting by, if they succeed at all. Okay? Now, what I'm going to let you guys do is ask him questions. So I'm going to have him share like a few connection questions we've trained in. I'm going to have him share a few cold openers that we've trained him. If you cold call, type in me if you cold call. I'm going to have him train you and give you access to maybe a few problem awareness questions that help build the gap, consequence questions. And then you guys can ask him questions. Like, you quite literally, I want you to start posting questions. Okay? And me and this gentleman is going to answer them. Now, if you're brand new to the Facebook group Sales Revolution, because there's like 83,000 of you in there, and we're also going live in the Facebook group, Sales Revolution. We're going live on YouTube. We're going live in the Facebook business page. There's like 150-some thousand of you in there. We're also going live on my personal Facebook. My name is Jeremy Miner. I am the founder of 7th Level. Now, if you don't know, you should know by now, we are a sales training organization that trains salespeople exactly like you, watching me in this teal Hugo Boss shirt. I just love teal in the summer, right? At the end of summer. Now, we train salespeople like you, sales professionals like you, sales executives like you, sales leaders, sales management, entrepreneurs, coaches, consultants, contractors, business owners. And we train you and your team specific skilled questions, which this gentleman is going to give you some of those, like very advanced, okay, called NEPQ. That stands for Neuro-Emotional Persuasion Questions. Now, not only do we teach you the questions, we have to teach you how to ask the questions. Am I right? Because there's certain questions that require more of a curious tone when you ask them. There's other questions that require kind of a confused tone, like, help me understand. When you said X, how did you mean by that? See, that's a confused tone. There's other questions that require more of a challenging or skeptical tone. And then there's other questions that require more of a concerned tone, a tone that shows more empathy. Are you 100% sure the questions you've been taught to ask are the right ones for what you sell? Are you 100% sure you know how to use your tone to get your prospects to let their guard down and emotionally go below the surface and tell you what's really going on? Because if you're not, that means what? That you're losing deals that you could be making. That our clients who are in your industry, they make those deals every single day. Okay, enough about me. Nobody cares about me. You just care about yourself, right? You guys are all humans, human beings. Let's bring up the man. Jon, how are you, man?
I am doing well, Jeremy. How are you?
Hey, I'm, just chilling like a villain over here. It was good seeing you. We had you in the office last week. We got some exciting things. We'll announce at the end that you're going to be, you're a client, but now you're going to be doing some licensing deals with us for your specific industry. It's pretty cool. We have a lot of licensees where basically we have franchises now. If you're in our advanced inner circle program and you crush it in there with what you sell, sometimes work out licensing deals with you for your specific industry where you can start a franchise of seventh level and use our brand, our marketing, everything, and train salespeople in your industry how to tie an NEPQ to what your industry is. So you're spreading this out all over the place. All right, Jon. Jon, let's talk about, so walk me back a little bit. First question I always ask any client is, and I want you to be real, were you born out of your mother's womb with advanced questioning skills?
And obviously, no.
You weren't born out of your mother's womb. Advanced questioning skills is what you're telling me.
I was not.
Okay.
Wasn't one of the lucky ones.
Were you? I know, me either. Were you born out of your mother's womb with advanced tonality skills?
Probably worse. So no.
Okay. All right. So no advanced tonality coming out of the mother's womb. And were you born out of your mother's womb with advanced objection handling and prevention skills?
It's going to be a negative.
Okay. So you're suggesting to everybody that there's no such thing as born salespeople. You're suggesting
I've never seen one.
So you're suggesting that you have to acquire the skills to make a lot of money. Like you have to learn advanced questioning, learn advanced tonality.
I know I did.
I know, me too. Just one of the, I wasn't born with all those skills. Okay. All right. Now, where are you based out of? You're somewhere in California, right?
Yeah, I'm in San Clemente, California.
So you're in San Clemente. You got to make a lot of money in California because of the cost of living, and you guys pay a lot of taxes out there. So you got to raise your skill level to pay those taxes. Now, tell us what industry you're in.
I'm in real estate investing. So I buy properties off market. I either buy them and hold on to them. I've held on to over 100 properties over the last 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
Still have a bunch of them.
Yeah.
Or I turn around and fix them up or sell them to other investors.
So you flip them, wholesale them, short-term rentals, long-term rentals. Do you do any sub-2 deals or anything like that? Or what do you do?
I have, but that's not my primary focus. So mostly wholesaling.
Okay,
I like quick cash.
Okay, the quick cash. All right. So that industry, you're calling distressed property owners. It could be, you got a list of distressed property owners. You're cold calling. It could be some ads on Facebook or something. It could be even the little signs you see on the road, 30 days, buy your home for cash. Does everybody know what industry is talking about now? You've seen the billboards, we'll buy all of the ugly homes, 30 days cash, or, you see the yard signs 30-day cash. I think everybody knows what you're selling now. Okay. Now you were doing pretty good. And I thought, and this is my fault, so I'm going to take full responsibility. When I had my EA write up the StreamYard, I said you went from $9,000 to 6 figures a month in commissions. I thought you were doing a lot worse when you first started here, but you were doing pretty good once I got to know you. So you were already making $25,000 a month in commissions with your business. Now, from what I understand, that was you, and you had one salesperson, right, calling those leads before.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Correct.
How much of that $25,000 were you making yourself?
At the time, it was pretty much all me. I was kind of doing all of the acquisitions.
So you're making 20 out of 25. Okay. So a lot of people would say hey, that's really good. You're making 20, $25,000 a month. What caused you to feel in your mind, you just weren't where you should be with your sales ability? What caused you to feel you could make a lot more?
Yeah. So, in any industry, but ours specifically, you always have your laydowns, right? And so I could close those.
Okay.
That were the laydowns, but I knew that there were more in there, and I would hear of people closing at 20 and 30%, and 1 out of every 20 of their leads would turn into a deal.
Yeah.
And so I couldn't figure out how to get there, and I didn't have any confidence that I knew what I was doing because the old stuff that I was trying just wasn't working.
What do you mean by old stuff?
So I did a bunch of previous sales training, and the questions that I was asking, it felt cringy for me to ask to begin with.
Okay, you got to give us an example of a cringy question that you used to ask on your sales. I have to hear the cringy question. It's hard to go back to the old days. It's like you got to take the blue pill again after you've
it's
hard to go back.
It's like I tried to just erase that from my memory, so I just pretend that so it's completely gone. But I remember right in the beginning of the call, I was asked to ask something along the lines of, so in this call, I'm going to go over a cash offer for your property. Now, I'm not sure if we're even a good fit yet, but at the end of this call, all I ask from you is that you give me a confident yes or a confident no. And either way, I'm okay with that. But I need you, like, basically saying, like, I need you to make a decision at the end of this.
Okay. Yeah, that's what like set your agenda frame that a lot of sales training companies in the old days would, and a lot of them still teach today. Now, what did you notice that would trigger in your prospects when you did that?
It was always like okay, kind of like a really uncomfortable, just like a lot of resistance. Like it almost sounded like I wasn't even a human having a conversation. It put up so much resistance that.
So psychologically, what that does now, when you use those type of frames, like at the end of the call, it's either a confident yes or a confident no. I'm either okay, fair enough. They'll be like, sure. Now, if they're like really golden, like lay down and like, oh my God, yeah, okay, yes, but that's few and far between, right? Yeah. But most people, especially if they're A-type, they're like, well, I didn't say I'm ready to sell. Like, and you automatically trigger sales. Now, even if they say okay or sure, you've triggered sales resistance. And now what they've done is now their guard has gone up. So what you probably notice is when you started asking questions, what type of answers did you get back?
Yeah, it was very surface level, cold. And in my market, I'm talking to people that own $1 million homes. You ask them a question like that and it's not going to work very well for you.
Yeah. So you'd ask questions and they'd give you like generalized surface level answers.
Or hang out.
Or they hang up. Okay. Even though they booked the call. Yeah. So see what we're doing. So we're triggering sales resistance. Even if they give you vague generalized answers, that means they never open up emotionally. Right. And human beings make buying decisions on emotion or logic, 100% emotion. Brain studies have proven that for decades. So I'm assuming, what type of objections did you typically get at the end?
It was mostly focused around price. It was all price based. Every once in a while it would be, I need to think about it, which was probably a price objection that I didn't know how to get to.
Right.
So I just say, okay, cool. Should I call you back in a week? Sort of that thing. So that was, but it would always come back to price, because as long as we were in transactional thinking, then it was just went back to price-based thinking.
Yeah, you were basically, you got them into price-based thinking rather than result-based thinking, right? Okay, so, all right. So, how did you find us first and foremost? And then we're going to give them some nitty-gritty training here and answer some of their questions.
So, I have a friend that's in sales that had gone through 3.0, and then I had a business coach at the time who just knew, I think he followed you on Instagram. Okay. So I asked him, hey, do you know any good sales trainers? It was, you and one other guy I was kind of looking at, and who the other guy was industry specific. But I went through and I listened to a couple of your podcasts. It said, I can't remember the exact name of it, but it was where your tonality, it said something about tonality and bigger commissions, something like that. Yeah. Bigger tonality, better commission, something along those lines. And I listened to that. It was you and Matt. It's like, man, this stuff resonates with me, because nothing that you're asking sounds uncomfortable. It sounds much more like a conversation. Yeah. So I could try that out.
And it's a very skilled conversation.
Yeah, it sounds like a conversation, listening to it.
Yeah, but on your end, it's very skilled what we're trying to do with the prospect and building the gap in their mind. All right, so you get in the training, let's say a month or two in.
Yeah.
What are you noticing is going on with your prospects?
So at first, the biggest thing that I had to focus on was my tonality. So that was my first call. They're like, bro, you got to slow down. So I was very used to, I came from a finance industry. So I was a mortgage lender back in the day, and it was very fast talking, trying to sound just super confident all the time.
Yeah.
So going to sounding confused, which helped me open up the prospects more, is difficult. So the first,
it's interesting because a lot of times when I'll do a little reel, I give people little nibbles on the roads. Those are tips, not training. Big difference between tips. Tips are not going to like double or triple your commissions because they're tips. You don't know what to do before, you don't know what to do after. Training, you know everything to do before, everything to do after, and you know everything, right? So what you just described there is what most sales trainers do. Is like, you got to act 100% confident, like show them it's an important call. And when you cold call like that and you sound so important and you say, hi, is this Jon? Hey, Jon, it's Jeremy with XYZ company. Hey, the reason, I'm with XYZ company, the reason why I called you was, and you sound so assertive and confident. Well, guess what? How do they view you within the first 5 seconds? Salesperson trying to sell me something, and the guard goes up. Now, I want to act confused. Like I need help, right? And a lot of people are like, oh, you should never act confused on a cold call. They're not going to want to talk to somebody that's confused. Well, actually, the opposite is true because it's a pattern interrupt. And when you act confused like you need help, people start to open up and actually engage, right? Remember that one thing I told you about the papers and everything the other day? So I did a reel on that. And a lot of people were like, man, I've been using this for 6 months. Like I am crushed. I'm getting like 7 out of 10 cold calls to book appointments with me. Before I would get like 7 out of 10,000 to book from me. And then there'd be a few other people like, there's no way, you talk too slow. You got to talk faster and get as much information into the prospect's mind on a cold call. I'm like, yeah, that's why you're broke. That's why you're playing the numbers game. And they're not even listening to all that information you're spilling their mind. Whereas we're over here like asking for help, looking at the property tax records, and they're paying attention to every single word.
Yeah.
So that's go ahead.
So one of my students just started doing that for follow-up calls where we don't have any information about the property.
Yeah.
And it kind of, it works so well when you really, they don't remember who you are. So we've all got leads. And this was one of the things that generated a lot of revenue for us because we had a database full of years of leads. Yeah. And it's been so long since anyone's reached out to them. And
people would be terrified to call those leads, wouldn't they?
Normally, yes. But the confused old man works so well on them. Yeah. I'm not even sure. I'm trying to make sense of these notes that I have here. It looks like you had spoken to Andrew, possibly. And, really getting.
They're holding on to every word.
Exactly.
Yeah. So like on a cold, keep going.
Yeah. So people, what we were doing with these leads before is, hey, it looks like you had spoken to someone in the past about your property on Main Street. And it was just a hang up right away, right? Not interested. Because they get calls all the time. And so doing the confused old man engages them enough where they want to help. And this guy is getting, like, out of all of his calls, he's having 80% of the people that answer are moving into conversations where normally it would be like,
who in here cold calls? Type in me if you cold call. Type in me in the comments if you cold call any industry right now. Type in me if you cold call or call outbound leads. Type in me. I want to see. It's a little bit now. I want to ask anybody on here. Do you get 8 out of 10 people that answer a cold call to have a 10-minute conversation and book an appointment with you from a straight cold call? Any of you get 80+%. I'm going to go out on a limb and say none of you get even 10% of that because you haven't been trained how to use your tone to trigger curiosity and engagement in a prospect. And we do all that in our virtual training courses, all right? So you want to learn that, type in me and we'll reach out to you. We'll message you back if you want to sell more, all right? Like Jon. Is 8 out of 10 cold calls a lot more profitable than like 1 out of like 1,000?
It's a lot more profitable. It's a lot more fun.
Seems like a lot less work, right?
Yeah.
I know. What are you going to do? So you want me to show everybody what we came up with for the cold call for your space? Because I was doing this a while back with some of our clients in our circle. So you print out the property tax record. So in every industry, we trigger curiosity by doing different things, but it's the same, pretty much same format, but we use different things. So if he's talking about homes, we just have them print out the property tax record of the homes they're calling. And we have them hold it because we want them to hear it on the call. Because that does what? Triggers curiosity, triggers engagement. If somebody called you and said they were holding a copy of your property tax records at 55 Willow Lane, what would you like? Not interested? No, you'd like, what's what? So you have to do this skillfully. You can't just say that. Yeah, so I'll just do this myself. Yeah, is this Amy? Yeah, Amy, it's just Jeremy Miller with XYZ. I'm holding a copy of your property tax records at looks like your home at 55 Willow Lane. I was wondering if you could possibly help me out for a moment. Sure. How can I help you? What's going on? Property tax records? Well, I'm not even sure if it makes sense for us to even talk, but I represent a group of investors who are acquiring like 5 properties there, like by your Willow Lane property, like on that like 3-block area. And as I was looking through your tax records on this, I called to see if you would be opposed to having a brief conversation around how we might be able to do something for you. Now, a lot of you guys are like, that's too slow, Jeremy. You got to talk fast. Everybody's just going to hang up on you. But if somebody called you and said they're holding a copy of your property tax records and going like this, what are you going to do? You're probably going to wonder why they're holding a copy of your property tax records, right? Now, Dylan said, investor's a trigger word. What would you say to that, Jon?
Investors a trigger word? No, I wouldn't disagree with that. Especially for your cold calling. I mean, they're going to want people that are out there like looking for ways to buy their house, right? So they love selling to investors.
It's all how you say it, Dylan. It's like I'm triggering curiosity. They don't think about the word investor. Now, if I'm like, yeah, is this Jon there? Hey, Jon, it's Jeremy Miner with ABC Company. Hey, listen, the reason why I called you is I represent a group of investors who are really interested in your home. Click. It's all how you say it. Because I slow down and act like I need help. I'm confused. I've got a copy of their property tax records in my hand. It triggers massive curiosity. Now, we do this in every industry. All right, I digress. Okay, what else? Let's give them some meat here. So let's just go through this and let's answer some questions here. Daryl, just starting tomorrow, solar. No idea I'm going to do, but I'm going to try my best to use NEPQ. Daryl, what training program of ours are you in? Because solar is one of the biggest industries we train. We have even specific training for solar door-to-door and virtual. We have solar people that make 100, 150,000 a month in commissions. When they came to us, they were making less than $5,000 a month. So what training program are you in, Daryl? You're going to need to be in the training program. You want to make that type of money for sure. Let's go through some of these questions, and then we're going to give them some meat there. Okay, new to NEPQ. Shout out to Jeremy for personally messaging me today. Excited to start my journey. Well done. Cold every day. Love your stuff. Thanks, Dallin. Very nice for you. Okay, I'm trying to find questions. Where's the questions here? Where is the questions? Okay, what do you usually shoot on the course? Somebody from Facebook user, what do you usually shoot on the course?
He's talking about your golf at the beginning of the...
Oh, I'm not giving those numbers out. No way. Okay, let's see. Okay, here's a good question from Gamer on YouTube. How many layers deep do you probe into the prospect's problem? Just give them something specific. Like give a problem of a prospect you recently talked to.
Yeah.
What did they say and how did you probe deeper to find out more?
Yeah, so I had so I'm getting a contract signed right after this. So a seller said that, yeah, so my husband's in some sort of assisted living and I'm taking care of the property by myself and it's just too much. And so I went in a really like 3 layers deep, and these are my go-tos. Can I give these away?
Before you go through the go-tos, yes, I want you to.
Okay.
Before you go to the go-tos, what would most salespeople in your industry do when they heard that? What would they say, or what would they just do?
We can help you. We can definitely help you. We can buy your house cash and buy it as is. So that way you don't have to worry about any of it. We'll do all of it for you.
So, yeah, surface level. Right? So you hear a problem, jump in with your solution, and then you're shocked at the end where they're like, well, I don't know if we want to sell.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's how you clarify and probe to like have her go below the surface and start reliving that pain.
Yeah. So my favorite ones are, and how do you mean by too much? So I'll go into how do you mean first, and then they'll start to explain. They'll open up a little bit more. I really like the how do you mean, as opposed to like, you know, there was some other people that were teaching, and how does that make you feel? Like, I don't.
Too soon. You can't.
Just clarify. How do you mean? And so she was able to elaborate a little bit more about why it was too much. The property condition was really deteriorating. There was mold. And so the next one that I would go into, and how long has that been going on where you've been living in that house?
How long has that been going on? See how I softened? Now, what type of tone do we want to use there, right? So when she says, here, role play with me, I want to role play with you. I want to show him something here. So tell me, you be the lady there. Mm-hmm. Say the same thing.
Yeah, so I've got mold in the house, and it's just, the AC hasn't really been working, so it's been kind of hot, and it's just too much.
Yeah. It's too much.
Yeah, just, I really can't deal with this property much longer. With all the things going on, we need to get out of here.
When you say all the things going on, what's going on besides the AC?
Well, the kitchen's not really working really well right now at this point.
What's going on?
Yeah, it's just that the oven went out, so we're not able to like cook as much.
Oh.
And just ever since he was, he went over there, we haven't actually been able to, fix up the house because we don't have like the funds.
Okay. How long is this? Has this been going on?
Well, since January.
Has it? What's it doing to you?
I mean, that's terrible. I just, like now I'm getting sick because of the mold, and I just, it's hot. I mean, it's really causing me a lot of stress.
You mentioned you're sick from the mold. How did you mean by that?
Well, I'm getting a cough. So, and the doctor said that, it's normal to have mold on you, but I don't think it is. And I've already had so many health issues prior that I don't think that this is good for me.
Okay, stop there. All right. Do you guys, everybody see what we just did there? How many layers I went down? Because most salespeople are like, oh, you're having some problems? Oh yeah, we can buy the house 30 days, same as cash. There's no problem. Let me tell you about it. But see, why would I want to go much deeper with what I did there? Why would I want to go deeper than that, Jon? What does that do psychologically in the prospect's brain?
Well, first it takes them into the result, right? So it's going to create more urgency because they're realizing the problem.
Yeah.
So they're recognizing the problem that they may want to ignore. So that's the thing that a lot of people don't understand, is that sometimes these sellers have problems that they're trying to ignore. They need someone that can help bring those up, right?
Yeah. So what we're doing is we're helping them relive the pain, right? The pain of the problem because of the consequences the problem is causing them. Now, in that example, they're probably like maybe okay, so they own the home. Husband's gone into assisted living. She's probably a little bit older. She can't take care of it. She doesn't have the money to take care of it. So we're helping her relive that pain. Now, some of you are like, it's not good to help people. It's not good to have people feel pain. Well, here's your problem with that if you're in sales. What's the number one emotional driver in a human being that causes them to want to change? Pain, or the fear of future pain. If you can't help them feel pain, they don't feel the need or urgency to change. And if they don't feel the need or urgency to change, there's no sale. And because there's no sale, unfortunately for you and them, They stay in the status quo and the problems stay the same and nothing ever changes. Pain drives change. What are your thoughts on that, Jon?
I agree completely. And I think the biggest thing that we have to realize is, so I like to tell the story about the dog that's sitting on the nail, if you've ever heard this, where the dog...
I have not. I want to hear it.
Okay, it's really good. So two guys are at a house and there's a dog who's in the corner and he's kind of whimpering.
Yeah.
And so the friend asks the owner, hey man, why is your dog crying? And he's like, oh, well, he's sitting on a nail. He said, well, why doesn't he just get up? He says, well, it doesn't hurt him bad enough to get up. And so many of our sellers specifically have pain points that, like, this lady's dealing in, she's in a really bad situation.
Yeah.
But she can't make the decision herself.
Yeah.
So what we're doing is we're asking thought-provoking questions.
Yeah.
That help her basically come to her own conclusion. And all we are is the vehicle that helps her get to where she wants to be.
You're the facilitator, right?
Exactly.
So what you're doing is you're triggering what's called internal tension in her mind and her whole being. Now, that's completely different than pushing them with external sales pressure. Now, external sales pressure, it's your idea that they buy, right?
Right.
And when you leave, they get buyer's remorse because you push them into it. But if you get them to feel internal tension where they start to internalize what their real situation is and how it's affecting them even personally, they tell themselves why they need to buy what you're offering. And everybody on here, tell me, is it more persuasive if your prospect gets pushed and pressured by you to buy, or if they tell themselves why they need to buy? I think you know the answer. And I think, well, I can assure you, I know which one makes you a lot more sales and a lot more money than you are now. And I can assure you which one's a lot funner and doesn't cause any stress or anxiety on the weekends when you have to go back in to call those leads on Monday, because you know how to build internal tension. You're not pushing and pressuring, which is emotionally probably beating each of you up. Okay? All right, now let's give them some other stuff. So let's talk about, actually, let's just go off some of these questions. I think here is good. I think this would be really good. I think there's some other good questions here. Let's see. I'm just got the black book and done the training for that. Okay, Daryl, the black book is very, it's a good start. That's a $27 book. Going to be hard for you to triple sales with a $27 book because you've got generic questions in here. None of them would have anything to do with your industry, Daryl. So you can do this, but you probably, if you want to make a lot more money, where would he go, Jon? Probably into like the training courses, right?
Yeah, 3.0, the Venture Inner Circle.
Yeah, you probably want to, at least NEPQ 2.0, but NEPQ 3.0, you're going to learn like what questions to ask for your industry, Daryl. Like we even have specific training calls just for solar, virtual and door-to-door, from our clients who've been here, clients for a couple of years who sell your industry, who do the training calls and show you how to tie an NEPQ to solar. And I've got some people in there that make over $100,000 a month. So you might want to get into those training courses if you want to learn that, because these are words on a piece of paper. Do you understand the tone you need to use to ask these questions? Going to be hard without the tonality training from us, right? So good job on getting the black book. Good start, but a book is a book. How much are you going to retain this after you read it? Within 48 hours, you're going to retain 19%. That's the way the brain works. Within 7 days, you're going to retain about 9%. And within 30 days after reading this, you're going to retain 3.2%. Just brain studies, okay? You got to go through like virtual training and group training and exercises and role playing with our trainers and myself if you really want to crush it. That's in any industry. Okay, but good job on starting somewhere. You got to start somewhere for sure. Okay, let's go somewhere else. Let's see. I've got some more questions here. Geez, there's a lot of people here. I cold call, knock doors. All right, what other questions do we have? All right. Has a ClickFunnels badge in the background, LOL. Well, we have a lot of those because we even have the $75 million one as well, but that's in another office. I don't have room back here. That's just the $10 million award and the $1 million, but we have the 75. We have a couple of the $75 million awards. VWG. Okay, there you go. Okay, here's a good one. Curious how this would translate to life and health insurance. Facebook user. So so just so you, I don't know who the Facebook user is, but whoever asked that question, because I can't see it on my end. So your industry, life and health insurance, is the largest industry we actually train. So how does it translate to your industry? Well, we train tens of thousands already in life insurance and health and insurance. The way it translates is, let me ask each of you this question. Type in me if your prospects you talk to have problems and or emotional needs. So type in me right now in the comments if the prospects you talk to have problems and or emotional needs. I'm assuming that's everybody, right? There's never been a product or service ever made that didn't do what? Solve a problem and or an emotional need. Even Ferraris solves an emotional need, right? Why does a human being buy a $500,000 vehicle? It doesn't really solve a problem unless you're racing around the racetrack and you want to be fast, right? You want to win the race because you can drive a Honda from point A to point B. It does solve emotional needs because it causes the person buying the car to feel what? That they have higher status. Solves an emotional need. Maybe they want to prove to their neighbors that they're very successful, have a great business or a great job. So they buy the expensive car so their neighbors feel like they've arrived. Maybe it's to prove their dad wrong, who said to her when she was a little girl, she'd never amount to anything. She's proven her parents wrong. Maybe she wants to show off her friends in high school that she's successful in a ride. So it's solving emotional needs. So there's never been something made that doesn't solve a problem or emotional need. Now, type in me if your solution you sell, which would be including life insurance for this Facebook user, solves those problems that you know people have. So if your prospects have problems and your solution solves those, then NEPQ would work for you. We already train every industry on the planet, so hopefully that answers your question. All right. How do I have prospects sign a consent form if they're always on the road? This is from Dempsey. We cater the trucking industry mainly as a finance institution. So, okay, this is a question for me. I want you guys to ask Jon questions. Good Lord here. But
yeah, I can't help you with your truck driving. I'm sorry.
I could definitely help.
You can help them, Jeremy.
That's one of the biggest industries we train as well. So you get them to authorize the consent form by scheduling when they're going to do it by. So when you send that form out to them, if you're on the phone or Zoom or in person, you simply say, now, what's your time frame on authorizing the consent form, just so I know when I'm going to be available for you? Now, because I've asked what's your time frame on authorizing the consent form so that we can, and then you repeat back what they said they wanted, you're tying in them authorizing the consent form with what? Getting what they said they want. Because I said, what's your time frame? Now it puts what in their brain? A time frame. So when they're like, oh, I'll get to it later tonight. Okay, now they're thinking about, oh, I've got to sign that consent form later tonight. If you don't ask them those type of questions, they just get busy and forget about it. So hopefully that answers your question. There's more to that, but I need to bring you out and ask you more specific examples. Can you make an example for cold calling, selling ERTC? Esteban, that would be in our virtual training courses. I don't understand what you mean by ERTC. I think I know what you mean, but I wouldn't have time to craft a problem statement for you right on this in 5 more minutes and answer all these questions. You'll have to get in our virtual. Just why don't you message me directly in our Facebook group, salesrevolution.pro, see if we can help you. Okay. What if it's a completely cold call and you don't know who you're looking for, Crystal? Crystal, what do you sell? So like, I'll give you an example. Even if you know who you're looking for when you're cold calling, you want to act like you're not necessarily know what you're looking for. So let's say if I'm calling enterprise level companies, all right? Doesn't matter if the C-level executive I'm looking for, department head, I know who I need to talk to, or if it's anybody. This is Jeremy. Is this Amy? Amy of the ABC company, how can I help you? Yeah, Amy, it's Jeremy Miners. Wondering if you could possibly help me out for a moment. Sure, Jeremy, how can I help you? Well, and I'm not quite sure who I should be talking to in your department, but I called to see who would be responsible, like in your department, for looking at any possible hidden gaps, like in your blank, that could be causing the firm to blank. Who should I be talking to about that? Oh, well, that's Jim over in Human Resources. Should I have you transfer me over to Jim's voicemail so I can leave a voice message to see if if he would call me back to see if we could help, or what should I have you do? Okay. That's just one example. I'm not quite sure who I should be talking to, but I call to see who would be responsible for. Responsible is the key word, because if it's them, they're like, it's hard for them to say, I'm not responsible, and push you off. Very hard. Hopefully that helped you.
And that works for cold calling. So like she may be referencing the tax records that you were mentioning earlier. If you're cold calling anybody that owns a house, you can do the exact same thing. So I'm not even sure who I should be talking to.
Yeah.
Same exact process if you're buying houses off market.
100% sure. Jeremy, I don't see you talking about cold emails. What's the reason behind that? Adam, that's all in our virtual training courses for our clients. So if you want to learn that, you'd get into our virtual training courses for clients. If I trained everything on these lives, we'd be on here for about, well, probably about 600 days straight. Not kidding. Like, sorry, Adam, you're going to have to get into our training if you want to acquire those skills. I can't train everybody, everything they're going to know in every single sales situation from a free live. I love you, man, but come on now. Okay, what would you suggest for someone wanting to learn real estate investing? Jeremy Mitchell, that's a good question. What would you suggest someone wanting to learn real estate investing? That's for you.
Yeah. So the biggest thing is if you can find how to buy deals at a discount. So if you can buy the houses at a discount, you will make money no matter what you want to do. So a lot of people, they get into our industry and they say, I don't know if I want to do short-term rentals or long-term rentals or flip or wholesale. Well, if you can learn how to have conversations with sellers where you can buy properties at a discount, then you can make money on any of them and you can't lose. Yeah. Because even let's say that, you buy it, it's a bad rental, but you bought it at 60% of the market value. We'll just turn around and sell it. You could just sell it on the market and make, 40% right there. So my best advice is to learn the skills to be able to buy properties off market, talking directly to the sellers so you can have those conversations and learn how to have those conversations. Once you do that, everything else is easy. Everybody wants the deals.
Yeah, Jeremy, you could do this. Jeremy Mitchell is one of our clients. I actually interviewed him like a couple months ago. So he makes like 40 grand a month in commissions now, kind of in the home improvement space. So he's looking like, where can I invest my money? How can I make more money even than that? So that's a good question. Jeremy would be really good at that. Adam Lucas, Jeremy, would you be opposed to telling us how do you cold email if you were to do so? Well, it would be different depending on the industry. So we'd have to know your industry. That's all in our virtual training courses as well. I think I just addressed Adam Lucas about that. All right, what does someone need to be successful with the training? Like what kind of pre-existing qualities? That's from Joseph on YouTube. What do you think in your mind, Jon, a person needs to be successful with the training? Like, are there pre-existing qualities or what do they need?
You need to be willing to not only, so you're going to be given so much information on these calls that I wouldn't recommend just going into the calls or even like going into the portal just one time and then expecting your sales just to triple overnight, right? You need to practice it because it's not just like one trick where we can give you a trick.
It's one question. Question.
All you need to do is ask this one question and your sales will double overnight. It is somewhat, once you understand it, it becomes simple like everything, but you need to practice it and you need to really hone in the craft. So the type of person that will go in, they'll go through the portal a couple of times. And then when they get coaching, they'll go back and watch those coaching calls. Yeah. That was a big thing for me that helped is I would always go back. I would watch the coaching calls over and then I would immediately make calls. I was always so excited after I got like a really good tidbit of information or something that hit. I was like, all right, I'm going to go practice this. So then I would go make calls. And the cool thing is I'm making more money while I'm learning. Yeah. So, but don't just go through the portal one time, expect you're going to be perfect at it. Just like you wouldn't go into a jiu-jitsu match and, without ever any training, do one class and then think that you're going to beat up everybody on the streets. Yeah. You need to practice. So somebody that's going to be willing to practice. Yeah. And willing to be dedicated to make.
I would say that the biggest quality is like, you have to be committed to actually wanting to be successful.
Yeah.
Because we're going to give you the sales ability to do that in your industry. We have 17,000 plus testimonials now in the last 2.5 years. There's something going on. Okay. So if you're willing to log in and go through the virtual training portal that's a 40 some hour portal. That's not like 2 hours. Like you're talking like there's 44 hours or something in there, plus group training by myself and sales trainers each week. So if you miss the live, you go through the recordings. And do you listen to it just once? No. Like Jon's saying, probably while he was driving around in the car from appointments or going to the grocery store, he's listening to that sales training instead of listening to his favorite Taylor Swift songs. Because, I love Taylor Swift, no offense, Taylor, but Taylor Swift's not going to make you that much money, right? So what our clients do who make the most money is they go through the training calls over and over and over because they pick up new things each time and they retain more of it. You just go through a 40 some hour virtual training course one time and that's it. You're retaining less than like 7% of that. We have salespeople that go through that, like we're talking like 12 times in a year, plus listening to recordings of the group trainings that we do on advanced tonality, advanced objection prevention, preventing objections to happen in the prospect's mind. Do you want to learn how to do that skill? Okay, for your industry. How do you get the prospects to let their guard down? How do you get them to lower their guard where there's no sales resistance? And they, like Jon, go through it over and over and over where it just becomes who you are. And that's why he's making over $100,000 a month now in commissions. Would you have been able to make that had you gone through the portal one time?
I think I would be out of business right now, honestly, Jeremy.
You got to be committed. The qualities are be committed. I want to make more money, not just for you, but be committed to your family. Does your family deserve you having more skills so you can make more money for them? Does your family deserve you doing that for them? Does your charities that you want to donate for good causes deserve you getting the skills to make more money, to donate more money, to help more people? Do they deserve it? Does your church you go to, do they deserve you donating more money to help more people? And do your prospects deserve it? Because if you can't communicate to your prospects, they don't get their problem solved and they stay in the status quo and nothing ever changes. So it's a lot more than just you making money. It's everything. Okay. All right, let's get to more. Do you think reading your book, The New Model of Selling, is enough for sales training? James, I'll let you answer the question. Is reading a book going to be enough to like double, triple, quadruple your sales?
You want me to answer? You want him to answer his own question?
Yeah, you answer that, Jon.
You want me to answer it? Yeah. So it will help you 100%. It will help you, but without knowing how to deliver the questions. So like when you spoke to my group last week, right? You spoke about the definition of tonality. It's the way that the prospect perceives the reason why you're asking the question, right?
Yeah.
And so it will help, but in order to really like fully understand it, you need some extra training. You need to work on your tonality, on your verbal pacing, on your verbal cues. So I would say, just like I would compare it again to jujitsu, you could read a book on jujitsu, but without actually going and practicing it, you're probably going to get...
You're going to get your butt kicked. You can read a book about, about wars and strategic wars, but they're going to go make you a general in the army and you're like Napoleon now? No, you got to practice it. You got to get in the trenches. Like, see, the thing is with the book, with the books are good. This is an overview. So there's no industry specific training in here, but it's a good book. It's a good book. It's going to go over how selling has changed. We give you some tips. But once again, when you read a book, how much do you remember of that book within 2 days? Well, brain studies show that you're going to remember 19% of what you read in 2 days. Guess how much you're going to remember 1 week? It's like 9.6%. So you're going to remember less than 10% a week later. Guess how much you're going to remember 30 days later? 3.2%. This is just averages. So how are you going to double your sales if you only remember 3.2% of the book? That's going to be hard. I know I would have never got to where I was at if I had just read books only. I had to take advanced courses, okay? I had to take advanced body language courses, advanced tonality. Now, you guys get all the benefit of me spending hundreds of thousands of dollars in behavioral science, social dynamics, and human psychology to develop NEPQ, so you don't have to spend the next 20 years of your life trying to figure it out on your own. All right, let's go through one more question, then we're going to get off here. These are good questions here. I appreciate you staying on, Jon. But James, yeah, the book is good. It's a good overview. But if you want to double, triple your sales, how can you do that by reading a book? You wouldn't know how to apply it to your industry either. All right. Let's see, what do we got here? How do you scale to 6 figures a month in your industry from YouTube? That's a good question. How do you scale to 6 figures a month?
Yeah, so the biggest thing to get to 6 figures, I mean, you don't need a fancy team or anything crazy, is just pick a marketing channel that you want to do, whatever one it's going to be, or if you've already got someone doing marketing for you, and then really build out, like perfect your sales process for that. Because it's not difficult in our industry to make $30,000 on just one deal. So all you need to do is 3 to 4 deals a month to get to that. So what you need to perfect is anybody can go buy leads. You can go online, and I could give a million ways that you could go buy leads. Everyone has access to the same leads. So to get to 6 figures, all you need to do is turn on the lead sources and start calling them. But you need to be able to understand how to speak with the sellers, what questions to ask, so you're not being slammed up, because everyone's calling the same leads.
Yeah.
We're all calling the same leads. Everyone's talking to the same people.
Yeah.
If they're in pre-foreclosure, they're being called by hundreds of salespeople and they're tired of it. So
tons of sales resistance if you don't know how to use your tone to get them to lower their guard. If you do know, it's really easy. If you don't, you're going to get smacked in the face.
Yeah. So really figuring out what channel you want to perfect would be my first recommendation. And you could do anything. You could do cold calling, you could do texting, you could do whatever you want. It's all pretty easy to get set up. From there, with just one person, you can get there by fielding in the calls, right?
Yeah.
Perfecting your sales process, and then asking the right question, being organized with your follow-up.
Yeah.
Right. Doing all of the everything that you guys teach.
Yeah.
Following up with your lead, dialing them.
Yeah. All right. So one last question, Jon. What was the one change that you implemented that caused you to feel like your sales were turning around? What was the one biggest change you implemented that really made the difference?
I would say when we started going over getting them to open up. So this is going to be kind of a 2-part answer, but it was, do you feel like that would help?
Yeah.
And when I kind of got the concept of getting people to open up, and then, hey, if I could do this for you, because I know that's what you said that you needed, like, do you feel like that could be what you're looking for? And when I started using that kind of frame of, do you feel like that would help you? Do you feel like that would be what you're looking for?
Yeah.
That just, people started closing themselves.
Yeah.
And I no longer had to say, hey, this is your offer. Will you accept it or anything like that?
Right.
They started kind of closing themselves. And so that was probably the biggest shift right there. And I was able to get that through tonality.
That's a commitment question towards the end of your sales process. Now, for that to work, you have to build a big enough gap from where they are to where they want to be. Because I want to make sure, and Jon knows this, but if you like just talked and like asked a couple surface level questions and got to them like, do you feel like this could be what you're looking for? They're going to be like, well, I need to think it over. See, the reason why they said, yeah, it really is, and here's why, is because Jon knows how to build a gap now from his questioning and tonality ability. Because the prospect doesn't decide when you ask a closing question, right then and there they're buying. If they say, yes, it is, it's because they had already decided that before that from that sales conversation, because of the internal tension that you built up from your questioning and tone ability that caused them to feel they had to change, and they have to change now. So, all right. Now, Jon, thanks for being on here. Now, here's what I'm going to ask all of you, because we're going to go live here next week. So I've got a question. Well, I guess it's for you guys, not really for me. Type in me if you want to start with what industry you sell in, because we already train your industry. We train 158 different industries on planet Earth. Guess how many industries there are? According to Forbes magazine, there's actually only 158. Now, there's subsets of each one, and we train all of those at this point. Fairly large organization. So with what you sell right now, type in me in the comments if you want to start making $50,000 a month in commissions with what you sell. I want you to type in me. Type in me if that's you. Now, some of you might be like, hey, 10 is good, but I want to get the skills. I need the sales ability to make $15,000 a month. Like inflation's there. I need to make more. So type in me if you're the person that's like, I want to make $15,000 a month in commissions in my industry. I can assure you we train tons of clients in your industry that make a lot more than that now. Now, some of you are like, I don't want to make 10 to 15. I want to be more like Jon. I want to make 20 to 25,000 a month. So if you're the person that wants to make 20 to 25,000 a month in your industry, like you don't need to leave, just keep selling what you are. You need the sales ability to make 25 grand a month. Type in me if that's you. Now, some of you are like 25,000 sounds good, but I'm already making 8 to 10. I want to make 30 to 40,000 a month in commission. So if you're the person that's a bigger thinker and you want to make 30 to 40,000 a month in commissions in your industry, type in me right now. Oh, there's tons of me's here. Now, some of you are like, Jeremy, 30,000 is okay. I need to acquire the skills to make 50,000 or 60,000 plus a month in commissions with what you sell. If you're that person and you're like, I want the sales ability to do that or more, type in me. If that's you, type in me right now. Now, for each of you who typed in me, what is your plan to actually accomplish that? What are you going to do? Are you going to work twice as many hours as you are now? You already work 8 to 10 hours a day right now. Are you going to work 18 to 20 hours a day? Probably not going to happen. So what do you need to do to make that type of money? You have to do what? You have to acquire a much higher level of what? Sales ability than you currently possess. Right? Okay. So we make it easy for you. If you want to acquire that sales ability to make that much money in your industry, because we already train tons of salespeople in your industry that make a lot more than what you just posted there, each one of you. If that's you, message me directly right now. So if you're in the Facebook group Sales Revolution, if you're in the Facebook business page or my Facebook or YouTube, message me directly right now. Now, if you're on YouTube, you can't message me directly because I can't DM you on there, right? You don't have the capacity there. You have to join the Facebook group, salesrevolution.pro. Now, there between all the platforms here, there's 100 some people on here still an hour later. Jon, you did well giving them some training there. You give us some tips. That was good. It's either going to be me that messaged you back or one of our people on social media. We got like 19 people in the DMs now that work with us on Instagram, Facebook group, Facebook business page, my Facebook. So it could be one of my stunt doubles or me. Now be nice to one of my stunt doubles. If you start being mean to them, I will tell them just not to message you back and you will never get into any of our training courses. Jon, where would you be at right now if you never got into those training courses?
Man, again, a lot of people went out of business this year. Maybe I'd be one of them, man. I don't know.
Now you're making $150,000. You're welcome. I love you, dude.
Appreciate you,
Jeremy. To learn those skills. So when you're talking with somebody on my team in the DMs, they're going to ask you questions. Can you be open? Can you let your ego down? Maybe you don't know everything there is to know about selling. Everybody okay with that? Because what's the biggest thing that holds most people back from getting up here? Ego, thinking they know everything there is to know about selling. Okay. So they're going to find out what industry you're in, what you feel like you're saying or asking that's causing a lot of your prospects not to buy, even though they have problems and your solution solves those. So they're going to ask questions about what you're making now compared to where you want to be. Once they understand that, you're going to have an opportunity to book with one of our account managers. Okay. You probably want to show up to that appointment on Zoom or the phone, because if you don't, we have like 6,000 some people that book a month on those calls with account managers now. And if they miss, they just go into a waiting time frame. Sometimes it takes them 2 months to book back. It's not like we have 700 account managers over here. Okay. You don't want to miss those appointments. when you get on with the account manager, tell them what's going on. Tell them the biggest objections you're losing. Tell them what you feel is causing you to lose deals. And once they understand what your current sales ability is and what you're making compared to where you want to be, they will then go over the different training programs we have that's going to give you the quickest return on your money, just like they would have done with Jon, okay? Because we're not going to let somebody who makes $2 or $3 grand a month get into our advanced inner circle day one because it's too much. It's too advanced for them. They have to start lower, like maybe our NEPQ 2.0 or advanced 3.0, and graduate from those programs before they get into advanced inner circle, just like Jon did, got into 3.0 first, okay? All right, everybody, message me directly right now. Myself or someone on our team will message you back, and I will see everybody next week. Jon, you're a legend. See you soon.
Thanks, Jeremy.
All right, everybody, see you soon. Hey guys, if you enjoyed these, here's another you can watch right over here, Join our free Sales Revolution group. Click the link below, join us, and we're gonna help you. Thanks for watching. We'll see you real soon.